Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Widgets I have loved.
And widgets I have hated. Plus, I'll tell you if it's raining outside.
And I have an app cap that is not an app.
I have an app cap that's furry. It's all coming up next on iOS Today. iOS Today is brought to you by Qualcomm Snapdragon. According to Ookla, Android smartphones with Snapdragon 845 from Qualcomm had faster data speeds on AT&T and T-Mobile than non-Android phones with Intel modems, based on over 1 million real-world tests done in Q2 2018. See all the data for yourself at qualcomm.com/twit. And by Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans, introducing Rate Shield Approval. If you're in the market to buy a home, Rate Shield Approval locks up your rate for up to 90 days while you shop. It's a real game changer. Learn more and get started at rocketmortgage.com/iOS Today. I got the breeder's blues. Hello, everybody. Welcome to iOS Today, the show where we talk about the latest news from Apple about its iOS devices. It's stuff. Primarily the iPhone, and there's going to be some big news. The iPad, a little bit of the Apple Watch, even though we know that's called watchOS, it's still iOS, and tvOS.
Mm-hmm. And we thought today we would talk about widgets.
Widgets.
Widgets we have loved.
And widgets we have removed from our lives.
Widgets, of course, are those things that appear if you look at my screen.
If you swipe right,
swipe there.
Not only will you meet the man of your dreams, you'll get some new widgets.
Yes.
What the heck is that widget?
No.
That's the Google Dinosaur widget.
Shall I just go through mine and then you go through yours?
Yeah.
Or should we take turns?
No, let's do it.
Okay. So here's the screen time widget. I'm using iOS 12 on this iPad, so you won't have this if you're not using iOS 12. But it will tell me right away what I've been doing with my life. In terms of my,
What have you been doing with your life?
So far, I've been on this device for an hour and 16 minutes, 54 minutes of productivity, 41 seconds of entertainment, and 36 seconds of creativity.
What app is this?
Screen time.
Oh, it's Apple's app.
Mm-hmm. So it's
but it has the dinosaur in it?
No. Wait, that was just
that's
my
the
first
next
widget.
one. Oh,
yeah.
the top widget.
So then I can see. Yeah.
So that's nice. Now that we have screen time, it's nice to know.
Yeah.
So these widgets are interesting because all widgets are kind of, I don't know, how often do you swipe right, I guess is the question.
Okay, so I swipe right all the time. And I'll tell you, once I get down to the Siri App Suggestions, because I have certain apps that I'm a little addicted to. They're not here, but mostly on my iPhone, like the Poshmark app that I use to sell clothes, which is strangely...
And you're addicted to that.
Well, it's just fun to see,
right.
And I can waste a lot of time on it, so I don't want to put it on my home screen.
Right.
Maybe you feel the same way about Twitter. So it's just one extra swipe. So you have to say, okay, I'm going to waste some time now on the Poshmark app or the Twitter app or whatever it is. So the Siri App Suggestions are stuff that you use pretty often, but maybe you don't want one on your home screen.
Maybe you don't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you were interested in Steve, weren't you?
Steve.
This is
Steve the dinosaur. Tap to play. Yeah. Now, that is from Google. That's what you get when, I think that's Google's can't find that page logo.
Yes,
right?
it is modeled after this, but this is not from Google. This is from Steve. So if you don't want Steve always showing up, you do. This is a good thing to know about your widgets. There's show more or show less. Sometimes you have to
not in all widgets, but some widgets will let you do that. Yeah.
So let's say you're just going on and on about something, and
God only knows.
I get bored, or our live audience here gets bored, and you just want to play a little. It's just
tap to play.
So
there's Steve.
Yep. I'm gonna.
He has to jump over cactuses.
Oh, I already died. I'm not very good at that. Come on.
This is a category of thing I don't like in my widgets.
You don't. Those are widgets you have hated.
Widgets
well, just show
hated.
less. I have my email inboxes here, so I have my personal and my work email, and I can access that real quick and have those little badge notifications, which normally I don't like, but in my widgets I keep them on, so I know that I have 18 and 16 emails.
Yeah.
Siri App Suggestions, which I talked about. These are just your most recent apps.
That's useful.
Used. Yeah, super useful.
Because I'll tell you, I don't swipe right as much as I do pull down to get the search thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so the Siri App Suggestions also show up there.
They're also there, yeah.
And I do that because I can never find the app because we're always installing new apps. So there's another place you can find those Siri App Suggestions is instead of swipe left or right, I mean swipe. And you can't do it from the top. You have to do it from the middle, halfway down. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Nuzzle. I'm a big fan of the Nuzzle.
Love the Nuzzle.
So again, the show more or show less.
That's Nuzzle is a news app. Jonathan Abrams, the guy who created Friendster, did it, and it pulls up news links from your friends on Twitter and Facebook, if you include it. And it's nice because instead of having to read Twitter or Facebook, I can just use Nuzzle and read the news.
Exactly. So these are.
Do you get? I don't think you get fake news in Nuzzle. Maybe you do.
Unless the people you follow are posting fake news. I mean, Nuzzle's isn't
I guess you
doing
would. It doesn't do any editorial.
No, I mean
I just follow quality people. Apparently. Apparently.
Yeah, so I can see the most. It does keep you in your. There's such thing as a Nuzzle bubble.
The Nuzzle bubble.
The Nuzzle bubble is something. I mean, but
it's no worse than the bubble you'd get if you read news on Twitter, though. I mean, it's the same stuff or Facebook.
It's the Twitter bubble.
I think it includes LinkedIn too now. Some people, LinkedIn has become, and this is odd to me because I always thought of LinkedIn as more like a resume site for building your network, but people actually use it to post content now. A lot of articles on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I've been posting some of our shows on LinkedIn.
And Lisa's been doing that.
Yeah.
So that's why Nuzzle would include LinkedIn as well. Yeah.
Well, when they were or are our sponsor and LinkedIn, aren't they? And what
they
I
were
learned,
or are.
They were or are.
Were or are. Are or were.
They. When I was doing some research, that's where the decision makers are.
Yeah, that's right.
LinkedIn.
I thought a few years ago, gosh, one of the best things about owning Twit is I'll never be looking for a job again. Mm-hmm. Knock on Formica, expensive Formica table.
Yeah.
But then I thought I'm missing out on the connections and. Truthfully, it's selfish of me because a lot of the people who link to me want recommendations, endorsements on LinkedIn. So I should really participate on LinkedIn. So I do now.
Yeah, your sweet daughter gave me an endorsement on.
Perfect.
And I wondered, does she know something I don't know?
I endorsed her, so she just went out and endorsed everybody I know.
Okay, good to know. I mean, that wasn't like a subtle hint, like go start looking for another job or anything, was it?
No. In fact, I didn't even tell her to do it. She just did it on her own, on recognizance.
I know. You don't weaponize Abby. Henry,
that would be a rude thing to do, come to think of it. Weaponize your children.
So Nuzzle is great. And pCalc, that was an app that we talked about.
You're going to have the creator of pCalc on the show filling in for me. Mm-hmm. That's James exciting. Thompson. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So pCalc is a calculator in your widgets.
So if I want, to know really quick what 5 plus 55 is, then...
And James will fill you in on the story, but pCalc was pulled by the Apple store folks initially because he had that widget. Mm-hmm. They said, no, you can't put functional widgets in the widget bar. And fortunately, he convinced him. Oh, you see how much... So this is a good example of sure more, sure less being a really useful thing on pCalc.
Yeah.
Because maybe you don't want a giant calculator in your widgets. Mm-hmm. Maybe you just want a simple one. Or if you want all the functionality of pCalc, you could do it right there.
Nothing made me sadder than having to go to Staples yesterday and buy 2 scientific calculators.
Oh, Huck and Milo are there, aren't they? They're in that stage now. They're going down the chute.
And their teacher would not just. I was like, but you have an iPad.
Was it TI 99 you have to buy?
That's a graphing calculator.
Yeah.
This is a scientific calculator.
Oh, you'll get the graphing one later, I guess.
I know. Which was I didn't.
I know. Isn't that rude? They got iPhones. They iPads, could do much better. They could have an HP 35 on their iPhone if they wanted.
Mm-hmm. And I was trying to show them. I was like, you swipe left and right and they were like, teacher won't let us.
And I think that's because of cheating, right? So the calculator, they know that there's only certain things you can do with a calculator. If you had an iPad, you could also go to Wolfram Alpha and find the answer.
Right.
So
it felt good to buy something from Casio, though. They were I just felt like I pretended I was buying.
Nice.
Yeah, buying a watch in the 80s.
I bought not so long ago a Casio watch.
You did?
I
think long ago, like 30 years ago.
No, this year. Because I saw somebody did some hacking of it and stuff, and I thought, oh, that'd be kind of interesting Never got around to hacking it, but I think it was one of those. I think it had a stylus. It was one of those calculator watches, and I was just stunned to know that they still make them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it's amazing what you find at Staples.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I actually have a hard time at Staples. I go in there and I come out with a big basket. I shouldn't go in there.
Really?
Oh gosh, yes. I love office supplies. Don't you?
I do love office
supplies. Who
supplies.
doesn't love office supplies?
I know. I wanted to get a lot of things, but I didn't get anything but the calculator.
Lisa always says, Leo, you could steal your office supplies from work. I said, but I can't do that. That's stealing. And she says, it's stealing from yourself, you nitwit. We already bought them. Oh.
You should start putting sensors on.
Don't you do it, though?
I know. That's what I'm saying. You should put sensors on them to keep them in there.
I did.
Yeah.
You'll notice next time you go through the door with one of those pens, the alarm goes off and Mo pulls his taser.
Mm-hmm. I don't steal office supplies. I just steal iPads.
You know what? What? I was about to say you can have whatever you want, but now I'm thinking twice. It is going to be an expensive month next month.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in the news.
Yes.
More widgets.
Okay. Chart of the moment from Quartz. I have the Quartz.
Oh, I don't know this.
You know Quartz.
Yeah, I love Quartz.
They just have a different chart. So if you just want, I'm feeling like I want some stats.
I'm going to install that. I want that.
I want to know the U.S. annual wage growth versus inflation. And, it's just a thing you can bring out at cocktail parties or what have you.
Exactly what I was thinking, a conversation starter.
It's pretty shocking. And you can also download the image. You can download the data if you want. You can embed your chart. They have some good charts.
They have some excellent charts.
Mm-hmm. You could also tweet it if you just wanted to do that. So let's see. How do I get back to my widgets? Grateful. This is my gratitude app. And that's where I spend some time writing what I'm grateful. And they have a little quote in there. Acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. And I'm sure that's Eckhart Tolle, although it just says Eckhart.
If the saying is more than 2 lines, will you only get the first half?
So, yeah.
That could be dispiriting.
It's nice
if you don't get the happy ending.
And then I have the other ones that probably most people have. Music. I like photos because it has these little...
This is the problem I have with widgets. Look how long your widgets are. Not only do you have to swipe right, you have to scroll up and up and up and up.
So it has all these little photos. Like here's all the photos I took in San Francisco. And it can show me that Ian and Lisa picture.
Is that's Apple Photos? Nice.
Yes, it's Apple Photos.
When did that happen?
Oh, we don't tell you when we hang out without you.
And there's a picture of...
That's the coffee bot, I think. I think you were there.
This was that Pepcom event, yeah. Well, there's Marco.
Very close up of my husband and I. So, yeah, and I guess those are all my important widgets. And my battery widget, that's good.
My battery, got to have the battery.
Mm-hmm. My Pocket Casts, News, Google Assistant, Sky Guide.
Do you ever, so I love this idea. You've got Google Assistant there. So Google Assistant is theoretically a swipe right away. Yeah. Do you ever use it?
No.
No. Yeah. I feel like to some degree the way Apple's implemented widgets buries them.
Yeah, it is true. So we didn't show how to add. So this at the very bottom here is edit, and then you can add or organize your widgets. So if I wanted to put my Google Assistant, maybe my Google Assistant. I'm going to put it up there.
Hey, my Google Assistant.
And then if I find that I don't really use the workflow, so I can just click there and then remove it. And then here are all the widgets available to me. And whenever you download a new app that has a widget, not all apps have widgets, it'll say new widget available. So yeah, there's all kinds of widgets here. I'm going to add the TikTok, which is the Musical.ly, because who knows, I might be a lip dub expert if it's in my widgets. So that's what I got. What do you got?
Well, I want to say a few things about widgets. Okay. First of all, widgets were added by Apple, I think somewhat in response to Android. But Android, I think, does widgets in a little more sensible way because they're on the desktop. So one of the things my real complaint about iOS is that this really hasn't changed since 2007. The one thing Apple changed is they added folders. For the longest time, iOS didn't even have folders. It was just a grid of icons, and you just had to swipe around until you found the icon you wanted. That's why, by the way, I often use this search capability to find something quickly. I just pointing this out, that Apple could modify this to put widgets on the desktop. So, in fact, this is my front page. I have two widgets. This is a date and weather widget. This is the Google Assistant. But as I scroll through, there's Google News. This is a whole page of widgets. TuneIn Radio, Pocket Casts,
too.
Audible. Pardon me?
They're three different sizes, so you don't have just show more or show less.
You can resize them if you wish in some cases. So, yeah, I feel like it's possible to do something. For instance, this is my trip. Oops, this is my TripIt widget. We've got a trip coming up. I could, if I wanted, make it take up the whole screen. There's not enough room to do that. This is actually interesting. This is Google's podcast app, which will make individual podcast widgets, which is kind of handy. So, not to make anybody jealous or anything, but I just think widgets could be perhaps a little bit more useful if Apple would, instead of hiding them where they do, swipe right, put them, and you don't have to use them. If you want a grid of icons, you can have a grid of icons. But wouldn't it be nice if you could have the Google Assistant, and by the way, a widget can be a size of an icon. It could be actually like an icon. So the other thing I would point out is that my widgets vary depending on the device. So on my phone, obviously, my widgets are very different. I have the people I text and call a lot. And you'll note that there's two of Abby. I tap that to dial her, and I tap that to text her. So you can add to your favorites. You can show fewer of your favorites if you want. It should be show fewer, not show more, show less. But I guess it's show less of the widgets, so fewer of your favorites. If I had anything on my to-do list, I use Apple's Reminders app because it works on Mac and iOS. So if I had any to-dos for today, these are only the ones today, but they would show up there. And that's one of the reasons I put that right at top. My calendar is also right at top.
Fantastical has a good widget.
Isn't that a nice widget? That's Fantastical. So it tells you something that I think is really useful. My next appointment is in 55 minutes. That's I think an interesting, and see how big that is. I think that's a very interesting way of showing that information. And of course, if you do show more, I can now have a month calendar, which is very handy, and my day's agenda, both in the widget. Now, right now, I'm using the Apple Weather widget, which I think is pretty adequate. Show less, you see, it's just today's weather, but you can show the future. I, like you, celebrate my athleticism with the activity rings. By the way, Google is copying Apple. Did you see that they're going to add activity rings to the Google Fit app?
They are. I think it's only the Google. I looked that up. I think it's only the Android Wear app.
Only on Wear, yeah. So that's the Apple Watch rings,
right.
Though,
there
right?
is no Google Fit app for iOS.
Not for iOS. There is for Android. Sorry.
Yes, I used it I've used it for the months that I've used the Pixel when Jason and I do the switch.
It's very comparable. Google. It's really interesting to watch Google and Apple in parallel, and I think this is how it works in the real world too. They watch what the other one does, and they steal from each other, borrow, copy. I don't know, whatever word you want to use. But it doesn't bother me. It might bother Apple, it might bother Google, but it doesn't bother me because as users, it means there's a nice cross-pollination. And that's one of the reasons I showed you the Android widgets, because I'd love to see Apple adopt, that's a good word, adopt the widgets on the desktop that Google does. Like you, I have batteries. On the phone, the battery widget is a little different than it is on the iPad. On the iPad, it's showing my pencil, which I've been charging. So I can remove it now. On the phone, it shows me my watch as well as the phone battery. So you get device battery, and you see my watch is fully charged. That's always good. DS Note is the Synology note-taking app. We talked about Evernote last week, and this is what I use instead because it's essentially Evernote, but on my own server. And the advantage of doing that is that I shouldn't show my secret recent documents. I notice it says secret. I don't know why it says secret.
My Dreams and Aspirations by Leo Laporte.
Yeah, it's secret. It's so funny. I don't know why. I don't even know what that is. That's tempting, though. Maybe that's a honeypot for bad guys. Maybe that's my canary token.
That's your hackety hack file.
Hackety hack. So DS Note is very, I can take a picture in a note. I can store a picture in a note. I can record a voice note, a text note, or a to-do list. And so you want to have a quick and fast way to get to that. You'll notice on my Android device, I also use DS Note, and I have it right on the front page. And this is an example of, it's a very similar widget, why I love widgets on the front page. I want to be able to, if I want to take a note, I want to be able to turn on the phone and take a note. So having it on the front page, I think, is a little bit more useful.
Yeah.
You see the Siri App Suggestions. I used to use Swarm a lot to check in. I'll check into the Twitty Site Studios right now. And yeah, screen time. Yeah. Now, there are some widgets I'm going to add. I'm going to add the Air France widget because I'm going to be going on a plane in about a week from tomorrow. And so I'll put that widget on my desktop, and I'll probably move it higher up so that I can see your flight's leaving soon, what gate is it at, update it, and all of that stuff. I'll have to add that reservation before I can do that. So that's a useful thing. In the iOS today, in the iPad, it is a little bit of a different organization. I don't have phone calls, for instance. I'm not going to make phone calls here. My calendar is first in my to-do list right away. I'm going to replace that weather in a little bit with my app cap. I don't want to give that away. Like you, I have Google Assistant. That's why I asked you. I never use it, even though it is theoretically a right swipe away. That's why I put it fairly high. Your position, we didn't show you, but it's pretty easy when you go into edit to move these around. Your positioning is really kind of variable here, and you may want to put the stuff that you want to get to right away in that first page, or as we say in the business, above the fold. Batteries, I don't mind if it's a little below the fold because that's something I'm going to physically check. I should probably take this out. This is the file. When Apple put out that Files app, I thought, oh, that'll be useful. These are the things I've worked on most recently. So the ability to jump to that, it's just like on the Macintosh, is nice. Like you, I have Nuzzle, but I'm not logged in, and screen time on here as well. So we actually have some very similar ones.
We do.
My one theory with widgets is put the ones you want to use right up top, because that's where you're more likely to get them. And, of course, you always have Siri and a search here. That's always part of the widgets, no matter what you do. So, you don't have to put Siri on top, but if you want to have Google Assistant on top, put that in there. Are there wild and woolly widgets we could use? You showed me that one, Bruce, Steve, Fred. One trick, and I think you mentioned this, is every once in a while, because whenever you install an app that has widgets, you'll be able to see what those are. Baseball season, I should probably add at bat because the Giants aren't going to be in the game. Drafts, I actually, with the release of Drafts 5, I don't keep drafts in here anymore. And even when I add it, it doesn't seem to get added. So I'm not sure what's going on with
I thought I had the drafts.
But
yeah, sometimes I had a Snapchat widget, and this might be because it was on iOS 12, but it was one where I could Snapchat my daughter
and it didn't
anytime.
Stay, huh?
And then which is very strange because I have it in there. If you can see that it's right there, and I could move it all the way to the top and hit done, and then.
If you and I had a commute, we might want to put there's some useful Google widgets. There's the travel time widget. We can see how far it's going to take to get to home or work. There's Google News, and then there's traffic. So if you have a commute, putting those in there is a quick way to see, well, what's it going to look like? Do I want to leave? When I used to work at San Francisco, I would always check traffic before I left because sometimes if the bridge is closed or traffic's really bad, it's actually faster to wait, have a few drinks, and then go home. No, I didn't do that.
I have a few
drinks of lemonade.
Yeah. You always like to say you're a drinker, but you're not.
I'm such a lightweight.
I have a few on my iPhone that I didn't show. Trending on Google.
That's a good one.
Interesting because it's really news popular right now. So there are lots of sad stories that you probably don't want to
That's why I don't read the news.
I know.
It's so sad.
MTV VMAs, Big Brother vetoes ceremony.
That's in your Google News?
That's popular right now, trending on Google. So it's not...
Lord above.
But
Who
then
wants to see that?
Much more important is the today in Star Wars history.
Oh.
What
happened today in Star Wars? What happened today in a galaxy far, far away a long time ago?
This is not a great one, but hyperspace subscriber Amy Saminsky wins a trip to the episode 3 set through a writing contest. So not.
Oh man, that almost put me to sleep, and it was only a sentence.
I didn't read it. Oh, you gave me your Cortana device, and I've been working on putting Cortana.
You can have Cortana in there.
Yeah. So I can add a new event or talk to Cortana. I've also been testing a new Garmin, so they have a Connect app, and it tells me my last activities.
I think we're a little bit of a disadvantage because you and I are both using iOS 12, right?
Not on my phone.
Aha. So I am using it on both, and I think some of these widgets that I've tried to add, because there were quite a few more I wanted to add, have not gone in. And I'm guessing maybe that's an iOS 12 issue, and I don't know how widgets are going to change in iOS 12. Maybe they are a little bit. For instance, I use Cardio. That's a blood pressure monitor, and I want to have it remind me and measure my blood pressure every morning, and actually several times a day. So that's useful. If I liked to cook, I would have the recipe of the day. I love the New York Times cooking app, so that could give you a recipe.
What does your Tesla widget do?
Well, let's see if it shows up. I've been having trouble getting the widgets in there. Okay, so it does the same thing the Tesla app does, and I have to log in to do that. I do that on my phone. I don't do that. Actually, I should do it on my phone. But it tells me what my charge status is. If I want, I can actually use the Tesla widget to start my car and summon it. Should I do that?
Yes, summon it right here.
Yeah, it'll come here. It's a little buggy. You might not want to do that right now, but you can. Yeah, you can with the Tesla app. You can set I can turn on the air conditioning now or turn on the heat now if it's a little cold or hot outside. I could lock the car. I could sound if I see somebody out the window. I could sound the horn. So there's a lot of things you can do. So if you use that a lot, I don't. But if you did, having that in the widgets again would be a very handy way to get to it very quickly.
Well, I think we've said enough about widgets.
Yeah, probably.
I think we should talk about Qualcomm now.
I just want to continue to lobby.
I would like that.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Do you use widgets on Mac OS?
You mean dashboard widgets?
I don't.
They're still here. This is one of the weirdest things that no one uses. Apple announced it years ago, and it's still on your Mac. If you have a Mac, just check. Yeah, they're still there. There's a currency converter and there's a clock.
I don't ever use those.
Nobody uses it.
They're cute, though. They would be cuter on iPhone.
It's one of those things that just is vestigially left in Mac OS.
Yeah.
They just never got around to taking it out. There they are, the desktop. Yeah. Remember those? Remember when they announced those? They haven't, by the way, they're still skeuomorphic. They haven't really updated the look, the functionality, and no one's added new widgets in years. Look at the calculator. Isn't that useful?
Scooter X says he uses dashboard widgets every day, and he seems to have the answers to all the questions we don't have the answer to. So maybe we're missing out on
They left him in for Scooter. The Scoot.
All right, let's talk about our sponsor, Qualcomm.
Oh, I love Qualcomm and the Snapdragon. Got a Snapdragon in here. The Snapdragon 845. Now I think the 850 is coming up. Everybody wants more speed, right? And with 5G coming along, you're looking at these networks and you're saying, "Wow, who wants to wait? Whether it's in line in traffic." Or when you have one bar of signal and it's taking forever to download your music playlist, well, you know how you can get faster data speeds without switching carriers?
How?
This is a little subversive of me. You need the right phone. Ookla did an analysis of over 1 million real-world results from the speed test app. You ever use the speed test app? I think everybody has, right? That's the Ookla app. It's just called Speed Test. It's also on the web. They analyzed a bunch of over 1 million results on AT&T and T-Mobile, just Q2 alone. Android phones with Snapdragon 845 from Qualcomm had up to 192% faster data speeds. That's almost twice as fast than non-Android phones with Intel modems. I wonder who has a non-Android phone with an Intel modem. Oh, this. That's my iPhone 10. And you know what? I could see it when I use my Qualcomm phone versus my iPhone. 192% faster. The Snapdragon 845 mobile platform is engineered with powerful features that will allow you to do even more with your phone. Immersive VR experiences. The Hexagon 685 DSP, that's a third-generation Qualcomm part. It supports really sweet, sophisticated on-device AI processing. That's one of the reasons your camera looks so great. The voice recognition's so good. And, of course, the XR and gaming experiences are so fast. Advanced vault-like security. Qualcomm has a new secure processing unit engineered to help protect personal data. Biometrics used for authentication can be stored in isolation, keeping precious data out of prying eyes. And, of course, engineered for energy efficiency and all-day battery life. It's really good. Check out all the data for yourself. Believe it or not, it's all there. Qualcomm, QUALCOMM.com/twit. And then upgrade your data speeds with a phone powered by the Snapdragon 845. Qualcomm.com/twit. Thank you, Qualcomm, for that fabulous Snapdragon. I have an 845 in, I think my Note has an 845. Or my S9. Yeah, my S9 is an 845. Sweet.
News.
News. Oh, there's so much Apple news.
Minecraft Education Edition is coming to the iPad.
I saw that this morning, and I got really excited for two reasons. Unfortunately, the Education Edition, you have to be a teacher or a student. I have to have that education subscription. But they are putting into the Bedrock Edition the chemistry set that they put in the Education Edition. So there it is, Compound Creator. So you can create water. You learn chemistry. And what Microsoft, who creates Minecraft, has said is that they're going to incorporate all of Minecraft for education stuff into Bedrock, which is the Java version, and the iPad version for everybody over time. So that's really good news. But for now, if you have a learner who's using Minecraft, I think Minecraft for education is phenomenal. Do Milo and Huck use it? Do they know about it?
They do, yeah. I mean, they haven't used it on their iPads. The iPad is what they use at school. So
you have to use the Pocket Edition, which hasn't had this. So that's, and obviously the folks at Microsoft realize that many schools are using iPads. Yeah.
And they don't use the Education Edition on the PC, but they do use Minecraft on the PC. And
that's what to me is so great with the Education Edition, because it's something kids already love and use, and now you add some of these educational features like chemistry. They're gonna be more drawn to it. I think it's really fun.
So it's been around since 2016, the Minecraft Education, but this is the first time it's on the iPad. So that is exciting. Just and the big focus on STEM by Microsoft, and admitting that kids are going to be using iPads in school.
Well, yeah, I mean, Microsoft would prefer you used Windows, but that ship has sailed.
But they also aren't. I don't know. Can you get it on the Chromebook? Microsoft.
No.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of what these companies are doing with Microsoft.
Actually, you can get it, if you have a Chromebook that supports the Android store, you could
get.
I don't know if Pocket Edition's on Android yet.
Probably not
the
Education Edition.
Yeah.
So that's
Microsoft needs to do that. They need to make it everywhere.
Well, that's what a lot of these companies do. Like I said before, Cortana and the Amazon Echo are now pairing up. You can get, but
you can ask for Cortana in your Echo, or ask for Echo in your Cortana.
And it's not that useful, but it is sort of a little slap to Google.
That's what happens, though. You get these, it's the Axis versus the Allies. You get people lined up against one another. Okay, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Silly.
Okay, so I would like to delve for a moment into politics. Is that okay with you?
I am not a crook.
I know. Okay, I got this message from Steve this morning. He gave me a link to a tweet by Breitbart News. And if you can bring that up, Kevin, it says Mueller's former client, the paragon of privacy at Apple Inc., provided the special counsel with access to Paul Manafort's iCloud despite making a public spectacle protecting the San Bernardino terrorists' privacy. And so Manafort was backing up to iCloud. And I wanted to
So let's talk about that. The only thing not true in that is despite. Because it implies that giving people access to the iCloud is the same thing as fighting the FBI over the San Bernardino phone encryption. They're not the same thing. And in fact, at the time, what Apple told the FBI is, well, if if you had just waited till that San Bernardino phone came home, joined the Wi-Fi network, it would have backed up to iCloud, and then we would have happily given you all that. And anybody who watches our shows knows that I am constantly hammering on this, that while your phone is encrypted and iCloud is encrypted, Apple has access to it and has in the past turned over data from iCloud to law enforcement. In fact, not just law enforcement. This is why, by the way, why you want end-to-end encryption, why it's good that that Apple doesn't have access to the contents of your phone, because bad guys also get access if it's not end-to-end encrypted. And just the other day, a 16-year-old in Australia downloaded 90 gigabytes of data from Apple's servers. He hacked Apple's servers. Fortunately, he put it all in a folder called Hacky Hack and got busted. But remember, of course, when all those movie star pictures got released, those were all stored in iCloud too. the reason that they were able to be exfiltrated is because Apple has access to what's in your iCloud. Manafort had stored. This was Manafort's mistake. He'd been using WhatsApp to suborn witnesses. That's the other thing they don't mention. That what he was doing was he was going to witnesses in his trial and saying, "You're not going to say anything, are you?" and offering them money and jobs. That was all in WhatsApp. Manafort thought, "Oh, that's encrypted. That's safe." But he didn't read the fine print that said when you back up WhatsApp to iCloud, it is no longer encrypted. Apple can read it. Apple responded to a subpoena from law enforcement, the FBI, I presume. The FBI said, we want Manafort's iCloud, and that's how they got it. In fact, if you look at the indictment, I guess the indictment, the pleadings, you can see it says specifically Apple iCloud, Apple iCloud, Apple iCloud. So Breitbart's not wrong in saying that. What their mistake is in conflating the two different things. Yes, your phone is encrypted end-to-end. Apple doesn't want to give law enforcement that. Your iCloud is not encrypted end-to-end. Apple has access to that content. And not only, they probably don't want to give it to law enforcement either, but they don't have any choice.
So the implication of this headline in some of the responses was that Apple made a choice. They
That's not the
gave it
case.
over to Paul Manafort, where they didn't give it over for this.
There is something to be up in arms about, which is that Apple has, in a way, two different policies, that your iCloud stuff is not protected from law enforcement, but your iPhone is.
Right.
Make up your mind.
So,
and I think Apple kind of implies that your iCloud is private and secure, but we know, I mean, it's not private and secure. Both, not only can law enforcement get it, but hacky hack.
All right, thank you for delving into. I thought that was a good.
It's important because it's the problem is these are fairly technical issues, and so it's easy to get it wrong and not understand the distinction. I think Breitbart knows better. That's a convenient headline for them.
Possible new Series 4 Apple Watch in September. What do you think about that rumor?
I think it's more than a rumor. In fact, let's cover all these rumors.
Okay, let's do it.
So Apple's going to have an event. They're going to have an event almost certainly in September. They have every year. Back in 2012, so Apple likes to have its events on Tuesday. They like to have it on the Tuesday, not immediately after Labor Day, but a week after Labor Day. So this year, Labor Day is September 3rd. September 4th would be too soon. They don't want to have their employees working through the long weekend to get ready for the event, so they do it September 11th. Oops, that's not a great day. Back in 2012, it was on September 11th as well. Apple, out of respect, moved it to September 12th. So the wide thinking is, well, that means probably Apple's event will be September 12th. Now there's some confirming information that's coming out. A German phone company said you'll be able to order your new iPhone September 14th. That's completely consistent with a September 12th date, right? That's usually what they do. They announce it, and then they said you can order it on Friday. And somewhere, I can't remember, probably another leak from another phone company, we heard that deliveries would be September 21st, which is exactly all on timetable with a September 12th announcement, September 4th ordering day, which, by the way, I immediately looked up. And during the September 12th event, I will be at sea in a boat, unable to not only listen to the event, but make any orders. But fortunately, Friday, I'll be back. Not here, but I'll be somewhere. And I don't know exactly where, but somewhere. And I will, I think, be able to order that phone. And then it'll arrive September 21st. Here's the thing. Phone, yes. But remember, I said this is going to be an expensive month. Almost certainly now we know that there will also be new iPads. So there'll be a new iPhone, 3 new iPhones, an LCD. I think now we're getting close enough that I don't normally like rumors, but we've converged on the truth. And I think that we'll talk about more about this on the MacBreak Weekly, but I think we are now at the truth. This is the time frame where there's no surprises, right? That when the event happens and you'll be covering it, you'll go, oh, we knew that. 3 iPhones, LCD, 2 OLEDs, one of them same size as the iPhone 10, one of them 6.4 inches, big one. All 3 will have Face ID, and no more of that old savagery of fingerprint, Touch ID
That you prefer.
that I prefer. New iPads also with Face ID, new iPad Pros. There are some things that we're not sure about. One rumor was that the pencil would be supported on the OLED iPhones. Who knows? I don't think that's critical one way or the other.
Yeah.
New iPads, I think they will do it all in the September event, and I'm pretty sure they'll do a new Apple Watch. There's a lot of evidence in Apple Watch OS that there's going to be a new Apple Watch, Series 4. So this is going to be expensive. Oh, I didn't even add the fact that yesterday Mark Gurman said there'd be a new MacBook and a new Mac Mini. We'll talk about that on Mac Break Weekly. But Gurman's good. If Gurman says it, it's true. So get ready. You're going to be here for 4 or 5 hours on September 12th. Talking. Because there's going to be maybe they'll do another event, but that's a lot in one event. Boy. Whew.
Yeah, I doubt they would do 2 events. They might make additional announcements.
Sometimes the argument is, well, you don't want to overshadow a big iPhone announcement. That's your big product with other stuff. And Apple has the world's attention. Why not take advantage of it and mention everything?
And as you've mentioned before, they could do 2 events easily because they have the event space in the Apple campus. It's not like they have to.
That's the disadvantage we're at now. Starting last year, they had the events in their own space, so we can't say, oh, they're hanging up stuff, or they've for some reason Moscone Center's booked up for that day. We don't know. So they could. And there's one other thing that changes things. Not only do we not get information, but they could literally change it. They could say at the last minute, they don't send out invitations till a week or so before. They could say, it's not going to be ready. Let's do it the 21st. Let's do it in October.
What's crazy to me is they do send out invitations only a week before, and then all those people fly there. Those tickets must be crazy expensive.
Yeah. I feel so sorry for tech journalists.
Think about how much your money you're saving that we don't have to fly anywhere.
Yeah, we could just get in a car if they would invite us. We could be there, honest, in an hour.
Well, you can't because you'll be at sea, but
I'd come back.
I could go.
Who cares about Monaco?
Good.
Monaco
Okay,
schmonaco.
I'll go on vacation with Lisa. You stay here. Love this.
I should actually figure out where I'm going to be, because what the orders would be midnight between the 13th and the 14th. I should figure out where I'm going to be. Midnight would be 9 a.m. where I am.
I'll just order us 3 of everything.
Oh, I actually might ask you to do that. That's a good point.
I'll get some good miles on
Where am I
going
to be? 9 a.m. on September 14th. I'll be on the Amalfi Coast. I'll be in a Jeep driving to Pompeii.
You'll be like, I'm going to retire. I don't need to buy
I'll
anything.
be like, I don't care. I don't need that. We arrive at 9 a.m. in Amalfi. So that's right when the orders begin. So the minute we get into port, I'll go and order it.
So a little bit more news, or rumors, I guess. Someone called Storm Leaks on Twitter says Fortnight is coming to Apple TV because they found that in the code.
They found that in the Fortnite iOS code.
So
that's
exciting for
really
Fortnite
cool.
players.
There it is. Look at it. There's the hex dump.
Obviously. Thanks, Storm.
Let me think about that. You'd have to have a controller, really. But the good news is the TV does support it.
Yeah. We have the Minecraft TV OS edition, and my kids never play it. I don't know why.
Fortnite is a fairly challenge. It needs a good processor. I don't know if the Apple TV is fast enough.
Oh.
It might. If it does come to the Apple TV, it'll be for the new 4K version. There's no way that would work on an older Apple TVs.
Yeah. I don't.
And that might be an excuse if you're buying one to get the one with more memory.
That might be a good excuse.
Fortnite on a big screen would be fun.
I've got one more piece of important news. The folks from Throwboy, those are the emoji pillows.
Roberto Hoyes. Roberto has a new one.
Yes, the
Kickstarter.
Iconic collection.
Oh, I love these.
Still on Kickstarter. And any iPhone or Apple fan has to have these. It's got one of the first iPhone.
Basically, it's a
iPod.
generation.
Yeah.
So it starts with the Apple II, then the first iMac, then the Bondi Blue iMac, the first iPod with the clicky wheel, and then the first iPhone. Isn't that neat? And they're big. Look how big they are. Yeah. These are, we have Throwboy pillows. They're a little smaller. He did icons, and we have a Twit pillow by Throwboy. But these would be worth getting, wouldn't they?
One for $39 if you back the Kickstarter, which I assume they're going to come through because they have in the past.
This is every geek's, lab has to have one of these.
$195 for the whole collection.
Boy, I think I should probably order it, huh?
I think you should.
Yep.
But I don't know. It's like, who wants to sit on their iPhone though?
If it's nice and soft.
But I just saw the iPhone in the chair, and I just don't know. Everything else I could do.
You might go, oh.
Everything that just seems bad karma if you sat on your iPhone.
He's clever because he's just narrowly skirting trademark infringement.
How is he doing that?
Well, for instance, the Apple logo on the Mac is the Throwboy pillow logo.
Oh, got it.
He's Roberto's a smart guy, and there he is. There's Roberto. He's a sweetheart. I adore him. What a business he's made out of sewing pillows. Good for you, Roberto.
Okay, we got some comments and questions
Yes.
now. Gardner sent us an email.
Those aren't pillows.
14th episode of iOS Today. Leo, you were talking about the App Store and how in-app purchases no longer appear. I wanted to quickly show you that in fact, they are still appearing. If you look here, we're at a page on my App Store today, and we're just going to choose Sneak Ops, something that just happened to show up. And then I'm going to scroll down. And if you look further down, you see in-app purchases. And as I click on it, it reveals that what the in-app purchases are and how much they are. Thought this might be helpful. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Every wiseacre in creation told me that.
But I liked...
You even told me that.
I think we did. But Gardner has such a melodic voice.
I know.
And
I
I wanted
Gardner's.
to award him for sending a video, as I ask many of you to, and very few comply. So
show me. Here I'm looking at Infinite Pool with in-app purchases, right? So I just scroll up.
I think you have to expand it.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
See, I think they changed it in iOS
They did.
12.
It used to be right. Oh, you mean they made it more obvious?
Yeah, because it used to be what Gardner showed. He's using iOS 11 still. And now it's kind of like that. I don't, like if it used to be right under ratings and review. It used to be as Gardner showed it. And I swear, now this is beta 6 for iOS, the public beta 6 for iOS 12. And I think that what happened was this wasn't here yet. This carousel wasn't here yet. And now it is. Have you updated to beta 6 yet? Did you get your update yesterday?
No.
Look and see in your app store. See if you see the... Oh, no, wait a minute. It is still here. No, I see it. All right.
It's still there?
Yeah, but I felt like it was gone. Because I remember this for years. And, this was after Apple got in trouble with kids buying red fish, blue fish, one fish, two fish, spending dollars and dollars. They put this in here. And I really like that. But maybe I was just looking in the wrong spot. I thought that disappeared for a while.
Okay, so here's what Fortnight looks like
Yeah,
on
that
iOS
has
11.
in-app purchases, a lot of them. See if you can tilt it a little bit so I can see it too. Yeah, thanks.
In-app purchases, you have to expand.
All right,
I think
so it
that's
is
what you
still
were
there.
talking
Yeah, that's what I
about
was
it,
talking about. I
because
guess I was just
you used to
missing
just be
it.
able to go right there, and it would be listed right there.
Yeah.
And then now you have to.
Well, yeah, no, I mean,
expand.
I just missed it. I missed it. It's
Yeah.
okay. I'm an idiot.
10,000 V-Bucks for only $100 in Fortnite. All right.
And by the way, all you can get is dance moves and clothes, objects.
You can't get better at shooting
No,
people?
no.
Oh.
You don't even
Garrett-
get better guns, I don't think. I think you just get decorations. $100. That's how they've made $150 million in the App Store.
Says the man who's about to order 3 iPhones, 4 iPads.
I'm telling you,
Apple
this is
Watches.
going to be such. See, I don't feel bad for guys who have to buy tickets to go to the Apple because
Yeah.
they'll probably get review units. I have to buy all of that, and not just for me, but for you.
I am an expensive co-host. It's true.
I
worth it.
I don't mind at all. I'm thrilled. And not just for you, but for Lisa. And not just for Lisa, but for everybody else in my family.
For all you. Look
and
at
you,
it.
and you, and you. No, I don't mind. I don't mind it because it's exciting. It's like our new national holiday. The day the new iPhones arrive.
Okay, here's an interesting question. Galen writes, a while ago, I was trying to adjust a setting either with my Apple ID or iCloud account and was presented with the option to do an @me email address. I can't for the life of me remember what setting I was under to do this and was wondering if you know how, and is this a true email address solution? I'm looking to replace Gmail. You can't do that anymore.
@me was Apple's mobile me service. Many of us had @me addresses,
You probably do. It's still there.
me.com, and they still work. And then they got converted to,
iCloud.
no, before that, there was another one. Wasn't there? There was
there-
me.com. And Huh?
So we have a support link. So if you created an iCloud account before September 12th,
.mac, that's
September
right.
19th,
Mac.com.
yes.
Yeah.
2012, or moved to iCloud with an active Mobile Me account before August 1st, 2012, you have both an @Me and an iCloud email address. If you had a working @Mac email address as of January 9th, 2008, kept your Mobile Me account active, and moved to iCloud before August 1st.
I have all three.
You can use iCloud, @Me, and @Mac email
I
addresses,
can, and I
but
do.
you can no longer create a new @Me address anymore. Only new iCloud.
iCloud is the new solution.
can't
So
do
you
it.
remember Mobile Me? Remember
I do.
that? So Mobile Me gave you a me.com address. There was also mac.com addresses. Those are even older. I have it's all the same address for me. And then iCloud.com. It's all the same. Leo Laporte @
But iCloud are real email addresses. Those
you could use those instead of Gmail. I don't think it's as feature complete as Gmail. And I know it's not as feature complete, but you can use it. Yeah. And then you can either, if you're an iOS user, all iOS apps, all Mac apps support iCloud. So you can, in fact, by default, if you log into your iCloud account, now you're all of a sudden getting iCloud mail. So you can use your, yes, it's a completely legitimate replacement for Gmail. I would guess that your storage counts against your 5 gigabytes free storage. So you might want to keep that in mind. You might end up buying more storage.
Right, that's true. Don had a good tip based on your What's in Your Bag episode that we did. And he says, I know most people don't do this. In my suitcase, I keep an extension cord, charging blocks for Apple, all the USB cables, Lightning, micro USB, watch, etc., shaver, toothbrush, sewing kit, nail tools. And if something is missing, I buy it when I can and keep it in the kit. Then for the next time, the kit started 30 years ago when I traveled.
That's a good idea. So
I
he
thought
has he has separate chargers for everything.
Yeah.
Which he just keeps in his suitcase.
Right. And I thought it was good because if everyone forgets stuff and then you have to buy a replacement. So just instead of keeping all the replacements in the same place, keep it in a kit that you just keep there and then it's always there and you don't have to run around repacking it.
I'll have to bring these in because I just bought 2 of these for the trips, the suitcase. They're kind of funny.
That is cute.
That's bigger than it looks. It's not quite as big as a baseball. It's about this. It's about as big as your fist, and it has on it 3 plugs, standard 3-prong plugs, and then it has 3 high-powered. The Anchor does these what they call IQ charging, but they're high wattage USB ports suitable for charging an iPad. I could even slow charge a MacBook Pro with this, but the idea is it's really compact. I got 2 of them, and if you got in trouble, you could swing it around your head and bonk somebody with them.
Or if you wanted to play a game of dice, you could also use it.
Yeah, I thought they were kind of cute. These are new Anchor power strips. They call them the PowerPort Cube.
It's adorable.
I've been meaning to bring them in. Yeah, a little more compact for travel. So in effect, I do the same thing he does, except it's not in a suitcase. It's in a drawer because I give away suitcases a lot. I go through new suitcases and I don't want to accidentally give away my chargers because that's a lot of money. And I also want access to them when I'm not traveling. So I have a special drawer that's the travel drawer that has all the right stuff in there, including now these Anchor PowerPort Cubes. Thank you. That's a good tip. Anybody who travels a lot has real tips for packing.
Well, because I have forgotten my Apple Watch on 2 recent trips. Apple Watch chargers.
Then what do you do?
Yeah, you just see you get to see how long it really lasts, which
I
is
have
usually 2 full days.
Dedicated travel charger because I've bought enough Apple Watches. You get a charger with each one. That I now have a dedicated Apple Watch charger in my travel kit.
I also like the batteries. Like I have a backup battery that includes the cord. Like it has the Lightning cable
built in.
it. Yeah. So you don't have to
I remember
carry
that.
cables
Yeah,
extra.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have so many more questions, but I think we got to move on to talk about Rocket Mortgage.
Oh, our sponsor for the hour. Another sponsor. It's good we're getting some ads because otherwise I couldn't buy you all this stuff.
Yep, exactly. This is 2 iPads worth.
Just remember, when you use Rocket Mortgage, you're helping this young woman get a new iPad, okay? Just keep that in mind. Rocket Mortgage, you're also helping yourself. You're saving a lot of money. I talked to somebody the other day who just bought a refi with Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage is from Quicken Loans, the #1 lender in the country, #1 in customer satisfaction 8 years in a row, according to J.D. Power, #1 in volume, too. I think those things go hand in hand. Quicken Loans is very much a customer-focused lender. In fact, it's because they're so customer-focused that they realized there was an issue. There's an issue, and that is that interest rates are starting to tick up again. And that now we've been blessed really for some time now with stable interest rates. But as they tick up, something bad happens. Anxiety because you're buying a new home and you don't know how much it's going to cost. You know what the selling price is, but of course, the mortgage, if it costs a quarter point more, that's tens of thousands of dollars more over the life of the loan. And it puts pressure on you to buy a house fast. That's the last thing you want to do. This is the most important purchase you're ever going to make. Your family's going to live there. You're going to live there for years. So make sure when you get a home loan, you take the pressure off you with Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. It's a 3-step power buying process. First thing is, and you can do this on your phone, by the way. You don't have to go to the bank. You don't have to get any paperwork. There's no paper application. You just do this on your phone. You go to rocketmortgage.com/iOS today. You fill out a simple form. At that point, you can choose the loan, choose everything you want. Within 24 hours, you'll get verified approval. They verify your income, your assets, and your credit. Verified approval basically gives you the power of a cash buyer. After checking all the information and this doesn't require any effort on your part. They do it all for you. They verify your information, and then they basically guarantee the loan. They do something else, too, called Rate Shield Approval, and this is what takes the anxiety out. There's a lot of anxiety buying a house. It's the biggest check you're ever going to write. Mm-hmm. With verified approval, you know your rate won't go up for up to 90 days. You have 3 months to shop, and you have a guaranteed locked-in rate. It could go down. If rates go down, it'll go down, but it cannot go up. Either way, you win. It's exactly what you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. They're really great. Quicken Loans, rocketmortgage.com/iOS today. Get started right now, and it'll be even faster. Rate Shield approval is only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply. The information here based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data records. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030. Rocketmortgage.com/iOS today. See all those customer satisfaction awards? These guys are good. Rocketmortgage.com/iOS today. Take the chill out of buying a new home.
It is getting a bit chilly, isn't it?
You know, you have to explain this. I know we're both wearing fur hats.
Yeah, John, I don't know. He just wanted us to match, I guess.
But what is the fur on the inside here?
Cold.
What is that? Is that so there's extra?
Yours isn't real fur. Mine isn't real fur.
Neither of these are real fur.
Nothing on here smiles.
Nothing ever smiled here.
Nothing ever smiled.
This is only
under
unhappy
except
fur.
me.
For some reason, it looks like maybe these are like little bear ears.
Oh.
I can detach that.
Oh, you can take off the ears. But why would you want to?
Oh, they're like little flaps. I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe we could get a Cossack in here who can explain. Mm-hmm. Your hat comes from Paraguay.
Oh, does it fit your head?
Yeah, I bought that in Paraguay.
I love it.
I know, I love it. This is the typical hat that they wear in Paraguay, which is very close to the equator, so I doubt they actually really need the hat. Maybe when they go in the mountains, when they go, that's what it is. When they invade Chile, they wear that hat.
That's what
when
I
they go up in the Andes, they wear that hat. Mm-hmm. This is for Cossacks going up in the Urals. They wear this hat.
We're wearing hats because
Why?
We're talking about this week's favorite books.
Oh, this was a great interview. That's coming this Friday, right?
No.
No.
It's the book doesn't come out till September 4th.
Oh, so the interview is going to be...
And the interview is September 7th.
Ken Kashenda.
Yeah, so we usually talk about our favorite apps, but this was my... while I wasn't downloading apps, I was reading this book this week, and I wanted to talk about it because I got to talk to Ken Kashenda about his book. It's Creative Selection Inside Apple's Design Process During the Golden Age of Steve Jobs.
Ken worked on the iPhone.
Yes, he worked on Safari. He worked on the iPhone. He was in charge of developing the iPhone keyboard. He worked on
I have a bone to pick with Ken. In that case.
One of the things he said, which was amazing, because we did get some questions from the chat room, obviously, and some questions from Twitter. And, I think it was Ed Riley who asked, do you think Apple makes us just deal with it? Essentially, like you make something a certain way and it doesn't work, but then Apple just says, well, we're going to make it because this is, the way
right
we want to make it.
Yeah.
And he said, no, obviously, but he said, he worked hard. They all worked hard to try to make everything work as a person would want it to work. And he mentioned the contacts app. When you're entering in a contact, when you're in the number pad automatically comes up. When you're in the state, it's caps, all caps, the state abbreviation, and different things like that. And I was like, I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
And what he said was, it's not a trade-off. You don't have something that you have to compromise on. It's not like you say, well, we have that capitalization in the, in that part. It's like you have to do 99 things that delight and amaze if you have to, compromise on one thing.
All design is choice. You have to make choices. And it does sometimes happen that you make a choice that most people prefer, but some people don't like. And there's not a lot you can do with that. One thing Apple doesn't like to do is have too many ways to do any one thing. And in fact, that goes back to the early Mac when they called it monotony, that there's exactly one way to do things because your brain learns a pathway. And so while something like Microsoft or Android might solve the design problem of, we don't want to make a choice, we're going to give you 10 ways to do it. Apple thinks that, and I kind of agree with them, that's confusing for people. It's better to make a choice, have a strong opinion, and just it'll make it easier for people in the long run.
Yeah.
This is how you do it. And I can't wait. So this book comes out in September.
September 4th. You can pre-order it now. It's got illustrations, which are just amazing. Let me show you this. Let me find the picture.
There's that keyboard that killed me. It couldn't type my name on that keyboard.
The first iPhone 1 keyboard,
They improved it. It's just small and my fingers are big.
This was a really interesting thing that he talks about. That it was going to work like a phone keyboard, sort of like if you
it was T9.
And then that was just something they had to,
throw
this
out.
doesn't work.
Thank God.
So you said you wanted to read this, so I'm handing over my copy, which Ken autographed.
Well, don't give me the autographed copy. Give me the unautographed copy.
Because I had the what do you call them, the galleys, but then I wrote in them, and so I felt bad giving you that. No one wants a book that
I want to read what you wrote. Anyway, this will be out. It's worth ordering. Renee Ritchie said it's the best Apple book he's read.
It is really, just talking to Ken, he's a great and grounded person. Didn't work like crazy hours, really understood that creativity has a limit. And, he's like, I would stay up at night thinking about it, thinking about the design, but it's not like he, killed himself creating this tool. And I really...
Neat.
This is...
Can't wait to hear
He
that.
was a historian. He has a liberal arts background, which I think,
Isn't
a lot
that
of
funny? He
people
had a
at
history
Apple
degree.
Yeah, a lot of people. He said a lot of people at Apple really did. And he reads the audiobook if you're more interested.
So we'll air that triangulation episode a week from Friday. Is that when we're going to do that?
I think so. And then I cut out a little bit that was my favorite part to give a little preview in this weekend's Screensaver. So you'll get
Fantastic.
to see a little bit of that on Saturday.
And this Friday on Triangulation, we're interviewing one of the legendary Macintosh designers, Bill Atkinson, the guy who wrote much of the software for the Lisa, wrote the quick draw routines, and wrote Mac Paint for Macintosh, and was very instrumental. And he's really considered a legend. We've had him on before. We've talked about his PhotoCards app, which is one of my favorite apps on iOS. PhotoCard is fantastic. Bill's going to come in, and he's bringing a lot of demos, including one you'll be interested in. Ken talks about this in the interview. He said when he was at the Apple Store for the launch event for the iPhone in 2007, June of 2007, he ran into Bill Atkinson in the line, and Bill had a hand-carved wooden replica of the iPhone.
There's a drawing of the wooden replica, which is
Well, you won't
great.
need the drawing because Bill's bringing it in on Friday.
That's so wonderful because, Bill was one of Ken's heroes.
Yes, he's a legend. He's everybody's hero.
Yeah.
He's the sweetest guy ever.
So
we'll be catching up Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC. Triangulation. Bill Atkinson, our guest. And if he runs true to form, last time he was here, we talked for hours. So get some snacks because Bill is great, and I will keep him in studio as long as he will bear with me. Bill Atkinson will be joining us on Friday. So 2 great interviews coming up in the next 2 weeks for people who are interested in iOS and Macintosh. On Triangular.
So you keep that, you read that.
I can't wait.
I'll check in. There will be
Thank
tests.
you.
And what's your...
Can I bring this to Barcelona with me?
You may. I'll give you the paperback to bring to Barcelona.
Yeah, exactly. You want to save this. Somebody wrote Ken in it.
Somebody broke in. It could have been me.
So this is an app we've recommended. It's actually been an app cap before, but it's just completely rewritten. Version 6 just came out of Dark Sky. The best, let's just say it, the best weather app for iOS. You really ought to have Dark Sky. One of the things they say is hyper local weather. Notice this doesn't say the weather for Petaluma, or as a lot of weather apps here in Petaluma, Santa Rosa, which is 15 miles north. It actually says our address in Petaluma. They have access to local weather sensors and stuff, and they combine all of that to give you a really good review. It's really chilly out there. It's 60 degrees. It feels even colder. It's misty. It's dark. The forecast is here, and you can see that they do a nice thing with this is the next 24 hours. They show you how the temperature is going to go up and down. But it's not just temperature. Feels like, precipitation, wind gust, humidity. Why, even a mariner like Captain Sam could use this to get around. Look at the UV index. Do not go out this morning. You'll burn. Actually, 1 p.m. Don't go out. Cloud cover, see how it goes up and down. I think that's fascinating. 7-day forecast. There's one of the things I really love is the time machine. I don't know of any weather app that lets you go back in time or forward in time. I don't know how they know what it's going to be like in 2027, but you can get a guess if you want to. You want to know what it's going to be like in 2077? It's going to be a lot warmer. 3,000 days from now.
It'll be 3,000 degrees.
It's going to be a lot warmer. That's the time machine. Go backward or forward. You can get notifications. Dark Sky has an excellent Apple Watch app, too, by the way. Highly recommend it. So I bought this years ago, so I don't know if I bought it or if it's free.
I don't think it's free.
I think it's probably not free. But I don't know what it is because all I get is that little cloud with the arrow in it. I can't tell. $3.99? All right. Well worth it. $4. If everybody loves weather. Dark Sky, completely rewritten from the ground up. It's version 6 of Dark Sky. In many ways, that's a good time to get a app. Is when these guys have done it for so many years and they've really banged on it. It's like the Apple keyboard. Yeah, the first one, is a great start, but as time goes by, they learn things, and I think Dark Sky is no exception. So it is a really great app. I have to remember to put it on my Apple Watch.
And you don't have to buy it again if you bought it.
No, I have.
I bought it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Everybody probably already owns it, but this is just a alert. Dark Sky 6 is now out, and that's why we're wearing weather hats.
Oh, that's why.
Because according to this, in 2026, we're going to be underwater. We should actually.
You can also ask Cortana to
tell us the weather in the future.
Dark Sky. Like she
can ask Dark Sky. Yeah.
I don't know. Do they call them skills on Cortana?
She
has 3 of them, and one of them is Dark Skies.
You can, by the way, have different units. Of course, I guess that's kind of a given. Imperial or metric. You may say 60 degrees. My God, man, how do you stand it? But that's Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit. It's not centigrade. Is it we don't say centigrade anymore. We say Celsius. I think people felt bad that Mr. Fahrenheit was getting appreciated. Oh. But Mr. Celsius wasn't getting the attention he was due.
What about Mr. Centigrade?
Mr. Centigrade's just out now. He's gone. He's over. And Joe Kelvin, he's also getting credit. Pardon me? Lord Kelvin.
Apologize to the Kelvin family.
I'm ready to take my app cap off now.
Okay.
My head is sweating.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming all the way from Long Island and Honolulu and Austin and wherever all you
we appreciate it. We had a great
have come from.
We had people get up early and wait for me. That's how dedicated they were. I
do that every week, by the way.
Yeah, that's your job. They don't get paid for that. I apologize for being late, but thank you for being here. And Mac Break Weekly is coming up next, but if you're watching the live stream, otherwise, we'll see you next week. Oh, we should probably say.
Yeah, you can subscribe to the show. Twit.tv/iOS, and you don't have to wait for anybody.
It's every Tuesday morning, round about 9 o'clock Pacific time, 12 noon Eastern. Be 1600 UTC.
Megan at twit.tv if you want to comment on something that Leo said that was wrong.
Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time on iOS Today.